Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today's case is going to be on a young girl called Kirsty Bentley. This was suggested by, I can't remember, but there you go, one of you guys anyway. If you guys have obviously any more, please do let me know and I will look into them. This case is actually unsolved to this day, despite it happening in the 90s, which is obviously very sad. Hopefully one day it will get solved, but let's get into the case. Kirsty Marianne Bentley was born on the 18th of July in 1983. Two parents, Jill and Sydney. She had an older brother, he was called John, and they were raised in Christchurch in New Zealand. She was described as being such a vibrant and just lovely, compassionate girl. She was always very honest. She was kind of the person, I see myself a bit like this, like when you get to know somebody, if it's your family or your friends or you're close to them, very chatty, like literally chatter your earbox off, chatter your ear off, whatever. But sort of around new people that you don't really know, she did kind of get a bit nervous and more withdrawn. But obviously if she once then got to know them, she would be like a chatterbox. She was also very creative. She loved drama, poetry, you know, all things like that. Kirsty was, you know, just a typical young girl enjoying her life. She was in high school. She had made friends there. She also had met a boy there who would then become her boyfriend, and they loved spending time with each other, and she was very social. And she was just leading a normal, happy life. This was until 1998, so it was just after Christmas. It was the 31st of December. And she went out to meet a friend at the Ashburton Library at 10:30. They went and did a bit of shopping. They had food at Mackey's and, you know, just enjoyed the morning together. She did have plans later on. She was actually going to bring her boyfriend back and they were going to have like a family meal kind of thing. So anyway, at about 2:30 p.m, she finally gets dropped off at home by her friend's sister. And then when she walked into the house, her brother, John, said to her, you know, your boyfriend rang, he's left you a message. He wanted her to call him back. So she did. She called him back, but he also didn't answer the phone. So she decided that what she was going to do, which was a normal thing for Kirsty to do, was take her dog for a walk. This dog was a black Labrador. It was the family dog and it was called Abby. She was called Abby. And you know, everyone absolutely adored the dog like you would. They just become such a big part of your family. And Kirsty really enjoyed taking Abby for walks, would do it quite often, and just that was their alone, not necessarily their only alone time, but she just loved being outdoors and walking the dog. Now at the time, John didn't actually hear her leave with the dog, but she was seen walking the dog by a neighbour at 3:05 p.m. And then, from then onwards, we don't know what happened to Kirsty because she never came back and she disappeared. Well, we eventually find out sort of what happened to her, but not the entire story. So, bearing in mind she was seen at 3:05 walking the dog, about 3:30, her boyfriend rings again because obviously he had a missed call from her. He rings the house phone again and once more John answers and he's like, she's not, figures out that she's not there. Like I said, he didn't actually hear her leave, see her leave, but the dog's missing, she's probably taking the dog for a walk. He did wonder that if Kirsty sort of took the dog as soon as she left, why she hadn't gotten back yet, because, you know, it was now 4:30 and normally by now she would be back if she took it sort of straight away. So when their mother got back, Jill, he told, at this point it was like 5:05 and obviously he told his mum that Kirsty wasn't back. She took the dog for a walk, at least he thought, and she still wasn't back yet. So they were starting to really get worried at this point. So what John did is their mother, Jill, arrived home at 5:15. And so he tells her that Abby as well, but Kirsty has not come home. She must have taken Abby for a walk and she's not back yet. They were starting to get a little bit worried, so Jill actually rings her boyfriend to make sure that she's not with him. And when she found out that she wasn't, she went walking the normal route that she would have taken with Abby. This was sort of down to the Ashburton River. And then she started to really get anxious because she saw no sign of the pair. She was really, really worried. And who wouldn't be? You know, she's been missing for a good couple of hours now. No sign of her. She's not come back. Nobody knows where she is. Boyfriend. She's not with a boyfriend. And she's got the dog. So it's not even like she'd really go around to her friends or anything. If you're going to go to her friends, you probably bring your dog back first, leave it at home, and then go out to the friends. So they was just really worried. There was no sign of Abby, no sign of Kirsty. Jill, I believe, got back just before 6, and then John went out to look for her too. Then Sid comes home, learns that his daughter is missing, and he immediately calls the police, and they report her missing. Now, this sparks an investigation straight away. They are out looking for Kirsty. And, of course, the news spread. People joined in. Volunteers, people around the community, you know, neighbours, friends, everyone was out searching for Kirsty. And they did that into the night, but sadly they didn't find anything. They didn't find the dog, and they didn't find her. So, like, the official search, I suppose, began the next day. 8 a.m, bright and early, everyone was out, everyone was looking for Kirsty. And then somebody hears some barking in sort of a brush area. And this is where they found Abby. She was tied to a tree with her lead. She was distressed. I believe she was very thirsty as well. But Abby was unharmed. However, there was still no sign of Kirsty. What they did find, though, was on top of like this bush, a pair of sort of knickers and boxer shorts. So male and female underwear, which is not good foreboding, is it really? And it's just kind of creepy and gross. But yeah, that is what they found. Later on, it would be confirmed that that underwear did belong to Kirsty, sadly. So again, really not a good sign. 16 days they searched for Kirsty. Everyone, everywhere, meticulously searched the area. Oh, by the way, as well, I'm pretty sure that I did read with the dog, with Abby, that area was searched before. The day before, the area was thoroughly searched and Abby was not there. So it seems like sort of whoever did this or whatever took both of them away from the area and then maybe brought the dog back and tied it to a tree. I really don't know. But yeah, they said that the dog wasn't there before. Kind of creepy, right? Anyway, back to the search. The police was looking all in the Ashburn area of Canterbury. They were initially, you know, focusing around that town area, but then they did expand the search because they just didn't find anything. There were even sort of military troops sent in to help in the search for Kirsty. And then on the 17th of January, something horrific would be found. Bearing in mind, this was one day away from Kirsty's 16th birthday. So 2 men were actually in the Camp Gully area. That's about 40 kilometres away from Ashburton. Now, these guys were out looking for a cannabis plot, apparently. And they came across something horrific. They came across a badly decomposing body. It was a female body, and this female had her clothes on, lying in a patch of overgrown scrub and like plants and things like that. And they were worried at first because they were doing something sort of illegal. They were looking for this growing spot, obviously, and they didn't want to get in trouble for that. So they were contemplating as to whether they should report it, but they did the right thing. They knew that they had to report it. And they did actually know of Kirsty going missing and did think that this could be Kirsty. So they did report it to the police. Now, I said this body was fully clothed. The only thing that was missing was the underwear, which, as you know, was found on top of the bush. Sadly, this body was confirmed to be that of Kirsty Bentley. She was left in the fetal position and she had, well, obviously they sent her for an autopsy, which came back that she had died due to blunt force trauma to the head. The injury was done and she probably passed away within minutes of that occurring. And they believed that she actually sadly was murdered on the day that she went missing, you know, that night kind of thing. Police did an extensive sort of search of the area. They deemed it as a no-fly zone so that nobody could go over. They tried not to contaminate it whatsoever. They did plaster casts of like tire tracks, you know, in the area and things like that. They tried to find any evidence they could to try and find who had done this to Kirsty. Now, apparently Kirsty was seen talking to a girl or something like that. That girl has never come forward. The police never knew who this person was. Don't know whether it's related to her or, you know, her case whatsoever or not. But they didn't ever find out who this woman was. There was also speculation of this white van hanging around. No, sorry, it was a green van. I don't know why I said white. Just white van, man. No, it was a green van. It was described as like a camper van. And despite tips and things coming in, they never found this van either. Now, I believe that because it was a camper van, it's very much thought that there were so many of these, you know, and a lot of them were never registered, so they wouldn't ever be in a database anywhere. People in camper vans travel from all over the place. It could even be from different parts of, you know, wherever, parts of the world or different continents or whatever. People travel around camper vans all the time, and so these people may not have even lived in that area, so they just never found it. There was some, they looked into the family, of course. There was some speculation around Sid because he said that he'd gave an alibi and then he gave a different one after, sort of saying that he'd lied about it. But it's thought that this is because he was embarrassed for whatever he was doing, not because he had anything to do with his daughter's murder. And he actually was cleared as a suspect by the police officially, and I think that was in 2018, and I think all of the family members were cleared of suspicion in the daughter's case and sister's case. So they've had a few suspects over the years, but none that have ever stuck. They've always sort of ruled them out, and sadly the problem with this case is that that's it. You know, they had a few suspects, never led anywhere. The evidence that they had never really led anywhere. I don't know what about these boxes, whether they couldn't get DNA off of them or whatever, I don't know. It's pretty difficult to not get DNA off of boxes, surely, unless they're brand new and it was just done to be a creepy little person. I have no idea. But yeah, to this day, still no news on what happened to Kirsty. I believe in like July last year, 2022, the police were saying that they released $100,000 like reward. And then there was this news article going around that they were narrowing it down to 10 suspects. The police came forward and said that's not true. They had like 40 odd tips come in, and they were working on 40 lines of inquiry. They narrowed that down to 10 lines of inquiry, but still, you know, it's not a person. They don't have 10 people in the sights of who did this to Kirsty. They have no idea. Honestly, I hope one day that if they were able to get any DNA or anything off of those boxes or anything, maybe that'll be the saving grace of this case one day. But for like, I don't know, almost a quarter of a decade, it has stumped police. I do believe that they won't close it down, and you know, it's going to remain open until it's solved, basically. But yeah, that's it. It is still unsolved to this day. It's devastating. Kirsty was 15. She had her entire life ahead of her. She was such a lovely girl. She went out walking a dog and she never came back, and that's just heartbreaking. But yeah, that is the end of this case. If you guys have enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for similar content. And that is all I have today on the case of Kirsty Bentley. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye!